Actually, yours is not stainless, mine is.
Yeah, smooth. This is your cut your arm off too.
That's one of the, are you recording? Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, one of the cardinal rules is when you finish on a ceiling, you don't try to catch your knives. I used to tell my finishers that all the time. Working in schools, I had two guys get their hands cut wide open because they were trying to catch a knife and it would cut their hand wide open.
Sharper than those pocket knives.
I mean, one guy had to have surgery because it cut through the tendons in his hands. I don't know if he was ever the same. I didn't see him again because he
probably not.
So anyway, one of the most used finishing knives is the 6-inch knife.
6-inch.
Yeah. Now, people get fussy. How long do you have that, John?
This one here might be.
They'll vicious break.
It's starting to feel like it too.
They last longer than wives do sometimes.
This has been through a few wives.
Or girlfriends, whatever.
This has been through a few wives.
So, John's knife.
This is probably about 15 or 20 years old.
Yeah. And it has a lot to do with how hard you push and how you clean it. His is not stainless, mine is. This will be harder on your hands, but you can put it, if you can put it up and oil it every time. There's too many times that I end up using my knives for finishing floor, putting floor leveler down. You're like sacrilege, you would never do that with that thing.
Yeah, I ain't using mine for that.
No, but mine, I can lay it down and don't have to worry about it picking up. He keeps his clean, but I think I have a knife in my truck. I'll show you guys later. But if you don't, just let it sit there. It will literally pit. And when it gets holes in it, when you're finishing, you can literally see the grooves that it's cutting.
It causes lines.
Yeah, and it's not what you want.
You know it.
You want smooth.
You got lines, you got sand.
I change up my handles all the time, and I attribute that to, the reason I do that is so that I don't damage my wrist. John here has been doing it way longer than me, way more miles than me, and he doesn't have any wrist problems. But believe me, there's plenty of guys who have had those carpal tunnel syndrome surgeries.
Yeah.
And they're actually not as good as they were. And a lot of times they don't ever come back to finish them, like what you saw. They don't come back. If you do, I change my knives up because my handles cause my hands to be placed in different places. And I don't get that cut, hard hand feeling.
Well, the difference with yours is yours lays up here to support right here, mine right here.
But I have something like that too.
Mine's all wrist. That's the difference in the handles.
Right.
Yours is all arm, mine's all wrist.
And I change mine up. I have the ones that are just like you finishing, but you take care of your knives if you're a regular finisher. You really do. When you get through with a non-stainless, you clean it. All the time, when you're taking your mud out of your bucket, you're using a 6. And so you clean this thing constantly. Because if you don't clean it, it ends up in your mud. And you clean your bucket. So clean is real important. This 6 is your baby. He just irritates him seeing that mud.
Yes.
But the 6-inch knife is going to be something you use all the time. You use it on your angles. You use it on all your tape. You use it on taking your mud out. You use it to clean your bucket. You're not going to use anything bigger because it's just clumsy. And at the bottom of your bucket, you're going to use a 6. In the tiny little places, you can turn this sideways and get into some really small places.
When you do your bed coat, you dip your mud with this and you use an 8-inch knife.
Yeah. So we'll show you that. But your knives end up being different sizes.
Depending on what you're doing, bedding and skimming.
Yep. John and I both have used, I remember John telling me one time he used a paint shield one time to bed a wide area.
I got my big knife out there in my car. You need me to go get it.
No, I always got nothing like that here.
Oh yeah, I'll use it. Right on every one of them butt joints, I'll use that big knife.
See, he'll make it when you can't even see that butt joint. But I have used what they call a straight edge for plaster when I have a big pump.
I got that 20-inch.
20-inch, yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah. So what these knives are all in different increments. You have a 6, an 8, a 10, and a 12. Sometimes a 14. If you
I
know.
use the 10 when I run the butt joints because my knife's 20 inches wide. And when I feather it, then I can pull up and it don't show.
What I'll do is I'll do an 8, or I'll do a 6 and then an 8 over it. I carry 2 knives in my hand. Yeah, and that's, see, and instead, John, he feathers his edge, and we'll show you that. But these knives are all integral to the trade.
Particularly,
Yes, and this is your most used knife. Take good care of it. Don't drop them. If you drop it, you want to look and make sure your edge. Yeah, that's a bad thing.
because if it does that and falls over,
And it
you can
bends
throw
it,
that knife away.
because it bends it right there, and it'll never be the same.
If you got a little gouge in it,
You use this corner to get into the little tiny corners.
if you get a gouge in it or something, you either throw it away or you save it for floor jobs.
Yeah, for what I was making fun of me for using that. So mine are all stainless, so I don't have to worry about it. If I do a hurry up job on a restaurant or something where they want it done overnight, I don't take the time to oil my knives and put them up properly. I just let them go and then we clean them off. I don't have to worry about it. See how it's still trying to rust, even though it's stainless? That is not from these knives.
That's probably not on your knife, brother.
It's probably not. It's probably,
That's just the water
that's from my pan, probably.
See, now it's gone.
So, John and I could sit here for hours, and maybe we will record some of the stories that John had, if he can dumb it down where we can all understand, and or make it PG.
PG, that might be the hard part.
That might be the real hard part, you have to think about it. But,
Because kids nowadays do YouTube.
yes, and they're fixing to raid YouTube, by the way, did you guys know that? So what I want you to understand is your 6 is one you want to take very good care of. You see the edges? Yeah. But I don't care.
That's the same. I got one just like it next to mine, doing the same thing right there. I was trying to remember what I've done with that to do that to it.
You get hung up and stuff. But
I don't remember what I did, but I got one out somewhere that's got that
notches
same,
in the sides.
got a notch inside. And you wouldn't think that it bothers you,
It does.
but it does.
It does. Yeah. I don't know that I did that.
Well, you may not have, but I'm just saying, I got the same kind of knife with the same,
No, I'm saying
Problem in the same place.
End up using for scrapers and everything else.
and I don't know if it's maybe where I stuck it in the wall and hit a nail that I didn't see.
You can throw these things if you're any good with using your.
I've had one thrown at me.
Yeah, and it can hurt. It can really do some damage. It might actually kill you. I don't know. It's not a movie. It's real life.
I wouldn't want to throw it at me. Not that, maybe that there might be better than this.
Well, either end would hurt. So
Yes.
your knives are going to be very, very important. The other thing is your pan. This,
Pick up my dirty pan, didn't you? Let me see.
this is a 12-inch pan. So this pan is something you're going to get used to holding all the time. Now they make a larger pans, like 2 inches larger, but neither one of us bother.
I got one.
No, I don't bother.
And then keeping the size of it clean.
That's just part of it.
I'm
You
pretty
spin it. That's something you do without thinking. And
Yeah.
why? Because you might end up getting to one side or the other, or you want to get to that side. And you want to load up your knife in one corner. See how he's cleaning it? He'll do that at reflex. And so that's where you can get it on one side of the angle.
That's an angle. I use it to put it on my joints too. I put it like that. And I put this side down so the mud runs down it as I spread it.
And we'll show you. As a matter of fact, I might just narrate while he does it because it makes him look better than me. He is better than me.
No.
Maybe
Maybe as good as you, not better.
he's better because he's done it way more. So what I want you to understand is take good care of your knives. Even if you put them up and don't use them again for 4 years, you oil them down, set them away. Don't put things on top of them.
And a secret to this, all of this here is when you got your mud in your bucket, take your 6 and wipe around the top of it. Keep it down all in the mud. And set a lid on it so it don't dry out, because if you don't, you get little bloopers in it. When you go trying to spread them bloopers, they don't flatten out and look pretty. You end up with a major
I'm
problem.
going to show you. So we'll do another cut here in a little bit. We'll show you how to run your knife inside that bucket. And I actually, at the end of the day, might wipe it all down on the sides with a sponge, and then maybe drop some water on it, because, you know, that way it don't dry out.
Depending on the temperatures.
The warmer you are, the faster you're gonna dry. The less moisture you have, the faster you're gonna dry.
In the wintertime, lots of times I'll just take my bucket, my pan, and just set it upside down. Just leave it there. Come in the next day, flip it over, use it.
Yeah.
Cause there ain't no heat to dry it.
It's cold, usually kind of moist.
But in the wintertime too, you can put a bed coat on, you might have to wait 3 or 4 days before you put the skin coat on. Cause it don't do no good to put it on top of the other one when it's wet.
Yeah, you can do a fast cut on a short stretch, but you're not gonna wanna do a whole job on it, although
Yeah.
I have. I've been where you mix a 5-gallon bucket up and everybody gets in it, 4 or 5 journeymen. You go through that 30-minute mud and you use a 5-gallon bucket of it. But we're gonna show you all these steps. And one of the tools for taping that you can use, you don't have to. As a matter of fact, it kind of seems silly sometimes, but this is something you can hook onto your belt. If you notice there's a little notch right there. And then this, you can put on. You want it coming off your bottom, so you can pull it out, and you don't have to keep
In front of you.
standing up and down, or squatting down, picking it up off a bucket or something. It's right there with you. So when you
Or
take,
trying to hold it in your hand underneath your pan.
yeah, you do that. You end up, if
Cause
you
then when
don't,
you go to flip it, there goes the whole thing.
and it rolls out. Yeah. But
Yes.
you end up getting good at holding other things other than that pan. But initially, you're not going to be able to. And when you see me working, a lot of times I'll be holding a knife underneath it. So I have a 6 and an 8. So I can put on with a 6, pull off with an 8. I don't have to do it. He just makes it real fast. So if you notice, we've already started on this very big panorama to show this. This is 4,400 square feet, and it's a project that two different people started and didn't finish. And guess what? We're going to take it to the finish. We might not do the floor because the owner wants to try to do the floor, and I'll introduce you to him. But we're going to take you along and show you how to finish along the way with my good friend John Hale.
Thank you.
And he and I've got stories.
1989.
Right, a long time. Jesus, man. Has it been that long? Yeah. I'm old. All right, okay.
I met you before I started playing